Well, hello my crafty friends, and welcome to another video by yours truly. And what I'm going to do today is a follow-up from my previous video, and I'm going to be discussing archival and waterproof ink pads and using water-based mediums. So in the last video, I talked about what ink pads to use with alcohol markers. In this one, I'm going to talk about ink pads to use with your water-based markers. Again, there's always, especially with new people that want to learn about card making and what to use with what. And I hope to rectify this with the videos that the series of videos that I'm doing. It's one of those things that I still see being asked on various groups that I belong to, and so if you're an experienced crafter, I do apologize, and hopefully towards the end you will see things that I do, that I've learned over the years, different techniques using water-based markers, pencils, with your ink pads and stamps. And again, I hope that by doing this you will give your stamps a new lease of life. And so this is why I'm doing, because I've learned all these different techniques over the years and I like sharing. So by it's helping you and getting things clarified and helping you to understand what markers, what colouring mediums to use with what ink pads. So this is what I'm hoping to sort out for you, and hopefully it will be made clear. So first things first, let's say that if you do like my channel and you do like my videos, please like and subscribe below. Use the subscribe button, hit that bell button, and you will get notified of future videos that I do. And also, if you belong to other groups, and please like and please share and copy the link and copy it and paste it onto other groups that you belong to. If you could do that, that would be absolutely brilliant. And as I've said before, I don't belong to any one particular company. All these things I've accumulated and collected over the years, and to me they are things that I've been happy with, and they work, and I get the results that I want at the end. So hence why I don't belong to any one particular company. Okay, let's get started. Let's get back to the basics and let's discuss ink pads. Over the years, let me move these out of the way. I have my original set of waterproof ink pads were the VersaFines, and I got them in 12 colors, 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, 12 colors. And basically, they came out in the full-size ink pads, and then they brought out the cubes, and saying they still work. They still stamp pretty good. So don't be alarmed. You don't need to go out and buy 12 of these. Whether they still exist or not, I don't know. I say I've had these for years and they still work. The newer version of these VersaFines are these VersaFine Clair, by the same company, and they are, and Lavinia Stamps use these quite a bit, and so these are the same. Yeah, it says on the back, perfect for using watercolors to color stamped images. So that indicates that they are waterproof. And this is the essential thing with your ink pads. If you're going to use water-based mediums, you need to make sure that your ink pad that you're going to stamp your image with is waterproof. Now, I know that sounds obvious, but it has been known. So all the ink pads that I'm showing you are waterproof, so they can be used with any water-based medium. Ranger, they do obviously a set of waterproof ink pads, and it's written right on the front there, waterproof. And this is archival ink sepia, and I've got it in the watering can, and I've got somewhere there, here it is. This is an earlier version of the archival ink, and it's jet black, and again it says on the front, waterproof, fade resistant, acid free, non-smear, blah blah blah. So yes, so those are those. Finally, we come to Crafter's Companion Finesse, and again it clearly says on the front, waterproof dye ink pad. So, and this is black, and I have got Pebble, which is a light grey. Now, with the previous video that I did on using alcohol markers and the ink pads, if you're starting out, my suggestion would be you would only need 3 basic colours: black, sepia, and a grey, which is what that one is, the Pebble. And again, I've got it in the archival sepia, watering can, which is a light grey, and the jet black. The only one I haven't got the grey in is the new VersaFine Clair. I've got the sepia, I've got the black. Those are the two that you probably would use the most. So what I'm saying is, you don't need to go out and buy loads and loads of waterproof ink pads. You don't need to do that. The basic colours, as I said, are black, brown, and if you can go to it, a watering can or a light grey or some sort of grey. As I said in my last video, the grey just is less harsh, so it's, if you don't want a strong black outline, then that's when I use the grey. So that's the ink pads, and I have got loads of different colouring mediums over here, over to my right, and we're going to start off with I think just a basic straightforward stamped image, and we're just going to do a little bit of colouring. And I've got myself here, this is Crafter's Companion multi-purpose card. I have got some watercolour card here, which we'll probably use a little bit later, and it's just a little thing to say, you know, you can it's just something to show you how all these different things work. So I'm just going to pop this onto my stamping platform, and what we will do, I think, can I get that on there twice? Yes, I can. So what I'm going to do, sorry, right, just got some stamp cleaner, and so I need to make sure this is on. Yep. Switch that around because it was on rubber and I need it on clear. Let me just move that up a bit so it's on clear. That's important. And then we can put the rough side, because that's the area we're going to be stamping. So I'm just going to pop that down, a few magnets just to keep it in place, and then lift up the stamp, and then we will go in with, let's go with a black for the time being, the VersaFine. Just light tapping all over the image, all you need. And I think this one came from Crafter's Companion Gilded Age collection. So pop that over. Just give that a really good press. There we go, that's a bit better. So we've got our stamped image, so we can turn that around. So I'll probably get 2 images from the one sheet of card. So I'm going to give this a quick wipe and a clean, because I don't want to contaminate my ink pad. So just to make sure I've got this, there we go. Give that another bit of a clean, and then we can pop that over, and then I'm going to get a watering can, and then you can see the difference. So again, light tapping all over your stamp. Down it goes. Lift it up. Just a little bit on that side. I might have missed that actually. So we can go in with the watering can again, just to, again, just light, delicate tapping all over your stamp, just as though you're you don't need to press it down hard. And then back over. There we go, we've got a lovely stamped image. And again, just clean the stamp. And then we can pop this back onto its carrier sheet because it's nice and clean. And then we can pop that back. And with this one, there is a die. So later on, I can actually die cut these and cut them out, and then just put them onto my card front if I so desire. So we can put this away. We've got 2 lovely stamped images. I will, and another little tip I will give you, if you decide, I've got my cutter here. Right, another little tip. Let's lift it out. Let me just put that back in a minute. I think that is it. Oh, something go down. There we go. Put those 2 there. Now, as I was saying, if you stamp these and then you go off and do something and then you come back and you think, oh, what did I stamp it with? You can just write on the back, black archival, use watercolor. And the same with this one. This is watering can, archival, use watercolor. And then you know. So if you go away and do something, then come back, and I know I've done it, you think, oh, what did I stamp that with? What do I colour it with? Now you know. You can just turn it over and you think, oh, right, yes, that's what I've done. So that's a nice little tip for you. So I hope that helps. Right, so let's do some colouring. Let's do the black one. And I'm just going to go in with, actually, before I do any of that, I've talked about ink pads. Let's talk about colouring mediums, because that is going to be crucial. So we've got our ink pads. You can use the distress markers. These are all water-based. So I might use those first time round. So we'll have a look at those. I've got some more stamps there. And right, distress ink pads. Obviously, I'll just get my sheet. You can use these as watercolors, and there's 72 colors. So think of what you could do with all of those. So yes, so you can use those. I might show you those in a bit. We have aqua markers, Crafter's Companion, and there's all those which I've got over the years. And the nice thing about these is you've got a very fine nib, for delicate colouring, and you've got a brush marker on the other end. So and that is Kingfisher, so that's a nice bright colour. So I've got all of those. So they are all water-based. They're in the grey, light bluish casing, as opposed to the black, which is the alcohol. So those are all water-based markers. Right, so we move on to, again, these are Crafter's Companion Spectrum Noir, as were the previous markers. These are all put my glass case away. Right, so pencils, watercolor pencils, of course you can use them, and you've got an infinite number of colors. So yes, so let's go in with, let's do this. This is something I like doing. Let's put that one out the way. Let's put these over there, back out the way. And something else that I find I've used quite a few is these brush markers. Now these are put that out of the way, we're going to use that later. These are all different markers, brush markers. Now what these are, they've got a reservoir of water, and they've got a brush on the end. So so you can, I will be using those, and there's several different sorts. And so yes, as you can see, I've got quite a few of them, and quite useful. So if you can get a couple of these, they are very useful. So okay, let's go back to our image. Let's use the black one, and I'm going to go with a pencil, and I'm going to just very delicately I'm going to go for this, which is Blue Marine. So I don't know if you remember when we did the Holly on the last video with the alcohol markers. With the pencils, I used very short pencil lines just to now the secret is here is not to use bigger lines. So I'm just going to make sure yes. So I'm just going to go in and just gently drag this colour down. So you hopefully eventually get like a watercolour effect. So I don't know if you can see that. So that's where I drew, just applied the colour, and I'm just dragging it down with the brush. And that's all you do. And you can, if you want to, come up from the bottom. So let's put a bit of colour like so. Oh, excuse me. And again, with the brush marker, just gently. Don't know if you can see that. Let me just. That's better. So you can see, I'm just dragging. And just be careful around the edge of the leaf. Now, the important thing here is that I need to point out is, even though I'm going over the stamped image several times, like this bit here, it's not smudging. The detail of the stamp is remaining intact. Now, that is crucial. That is what we're after. So, I'm going to switch this around a little bit. Just bring this colour back up a bit more. And then I'm just going to continue along. So as you can see, you don't need a vast amount of colour. Just short strokes. And then back in again with our brush marker. And bring the colour just up as far as the leaves. just got the other side to do. So very gently we can just do a little bit in the middle. And again, just gradually just bring this colour down. So once you get it wet, you can then manipulate it and bring it down to wherever you want it to be. So there we have one coloured cup. Now the other way to do it is you can pick up the colour with your pencil. Let me just bring that in, like just pick up the colour with your brush and then bring it down. So that's another way. So let me just do that again for you. Just gently pick up some colour and then now if it's a bit light, you just pick up a bit more. So already we have two different ways of applying the pencil. Now if we got a dark splodge, that's alright, just I'd keep dragging it down. So yeah, so already by using the pencils we've already covered two different ways of applying the colour to your image. So look, so it's a bit dark there, but that's all right. Just and you just can keep bringing it over if you want. So there you go. You have got a virtually coloured image. Now the important thing here with the pencil, just give it a quick wipe. I don't know if the water will probably affect it. I don't think it will, but and then just dab your bring that out a bit. So yeah, so dab your onto a bit of tissue just to get rid of the excess colour, and that's it. So there you go. That's two ways of applying the pencil to your stamped image, and as you can see, crucially, the image hasn't got distorted, or there's no bleeding. The image has stayed exactly as we've stamped it, which is what we want. So there you go. There's that one. And so that's pencils. So that's two techniques with pencils. You can either take it to the card and bring the color down, or you can go from pick it up with your water brush and drag it down like we've done there. So cool. So that's two images done with watercolor pencils. Right, what next? What should we do next? Let's do this one, which is in the let's show you some of the archival. What have I got? What colour is that? Let's go for, now these are so these are distress inks, and they coordinate with the distress ink pads. So I'm just going to do briefly. No, let's use the brush marker. Yeah. And again, I'm going to do exactly what I've done before, and then just use it to bring the color down. So cool. So I'm not going to do the full cut again, because I'm just repeating what I've already done basically, but just using a slightly different medium, which is obviously the distress markers. And so, and that color, in case you want to know, is tumbled glass, which is one of my favorite colors to use actually. And again, this was done on the grey, the watering can. The image was stamped with the grey, the watering can. So there we go. So I'm not going to do the whole image, because you can see, basically, let me pull that out again. So yeah, so you can imagine what that's going to look like all over, and it will just be a nice pale blue, very delicate. So already we've used three different two different techniques, and used a different medium for this one, and two for this one, two techniques on this one. So that's already three images. Right, okay, let's do now, we've done that, let's do something a bit more adventurous, shall we say, and I'm going to stamp this gentleman in sepia. So and I've used the VersaFine Clair, and I'm just going to Look. So it doesn't always you can see it's very shiny, so I have stamped it pretty well. So let me go. There we go. Still got missed a bit there. Right, I'm going to see. Even to the best of us, you can get. So I might have to stand up for this and just apply some really serious pressure. So stand up. Sorry about the wobble. There. We've got a good image. Right, so what we can do now with our image is, so we've talked about the distress markers, we've done a little bit about those. Let's talk about distress ink pads. Because as I say, you can actually watercolor with these. So let's go for, I'm going to use a lighter. So I'm going to go for Brush Corduroy, which is like a mid-brown. So I'm just going to squish a bit of colour down onto my mat. And then I'm just going to get my... Just pick up a bit of the colour with your pen, and then just, as we did before, you can just bring some colour into his jacket. So let me just pull that in again for you, like that. So I'm just picking up a bit of the colour. So again, this is a different way of using. So if, like me, you have the full set of distress ink pads, then you know you've got you've got 72 colours at your disposal, basically. So you can use any combination of colours to colour in with. And again, this image, if you look at it, it lends itself to decoupage because you can cut out the coat, lay it on top, and you've already got one image, one layer. So again, and you can do that. Again, I will use these eventually to make up into cards. So I've got a bit too much there, but I can work that out by just constantly dragging it down, and it will blend in with the rest of the image. So so by using our ink pads, we've created another color. We've opened up more colors for us to use on our images. Again, make sure they are water-based ink pads. That's the crucial thing. So we can put that to one side. Did I clean that? Probably not. Let's just give that a quick clean just in case I didn't. And these sets of stamps came from my friend in Sidmouth, who gave them to me earlier in the year. So she gave me a whole load of stuff. She asked if I wanted it, so I came over and collected some, and I did say to her, whatever I don't want or don't need, I will donate to a local charity, because they collect stuff and they raise money for local charities. So that's what I did. Right, so what we've done so far is, let's take a quick recap. First off, we added watercolor pencil to our image, and then we're just using a water brush mark pen. We just dragged the color down, and then on the inside we actually applied this straight from the, put the nib on the pencil and then transfer the color onto the image. On this one we used the archival watering can, and then we used the distress markers as we did on the other one, and just brought the color back down, and we've got more of a let's look. Obviously, if you use a darker color, you'll get a darker image, darker color, obviously. So that's that. And then on this one, we used our distress ink pads and picked up the color with our brush marker, and gradually applied ink to the image. So we've got three techniques, 4 techniques possibly, using watercolor based markers, and using our waterproof ink pads. Right, okay, let's move on to, and let me get some card. Right, I'm going to go on to this is watercolor card, and I'm going to do something a little bit different, and a little bit different. So what I'm going to do again is, I've had these for absolute yonks, years, and I've always go back to them. They're Hero Arts, and yeah, the Hero Arts, and they let me just zoom out a little bit. Yes, the Hero Arts, and they're 2 sets that I go back to time and time again. I just love them, and what they produce is really, really nice. So I'm going to, I've cut some watercolor paper, cardstock, and this is what we'll be using now. Don't ask me what kind it is. It's stuff I got from Crafter's Companion. Actually, if I've still got the packet out, then I can show you. Yeah, it's Spectrum Noir watercolor pad. That's what it is, and it's 9 by 12, and it's 300 GSM. That's 20 pages. So it's just watercolor card. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to get one of these. Will that fit on there? Of course it will. And we are again using our basic images. We're going to, what kind of, that's a sea green, don't want that. Just basically want a green, bud green. Yeah, that'll do. So what I'm going to do here with our watercolor markers, it's a bit, I'm going to take and apply ink straight to the stamp. So this is another technique using your markers. So because I haven't used any other color on here, I'm quite happy to put that away. So I'm going to use, now this is amber, so I'm going to use the brush marker again, and I'm coming in from and I'm just going to get a bit of, just to make sure there's no contamination, just to give that a gentle wipe off. And then I'm going to get a I was going to look for a red, but I didn't think I've got one. What's that one? Scarlet, that'll do. Might be a bit bright, but, and then I'm just going to right, and again, just make sure we can put those back and put that one back, and then what you do, just breathe over it, and that refreshes the ink. And then you can just go down and there you have, I'll just hold that up, you've got the two different colours in the bud and the nice leaf stem. Right, so, and there's still some ink on there, so you can breathe on it again and you get a fainter image. So you've automatically added dimension to your card. And you can go a third time. So let me just, and that's fainter again. So so there you go. So there's another way of using your stamps with your brush markers, with your water-based markers. Right, let's clean this one off. Stamp cleaner, because obviously we have used so right, so let's do something. So I'm just going to cut that off so I don't ruin it, because I can use that at a later date. I've got something on there. Got rid of that. So again, I can use that on a card later on. I can matte and layer it and then use it. Right, so let's go in with these. And then let's do something a little bit different. So again, I'm using the brush markers and I'm going to use, let's go for the green again, because we want a green stalk. So let's go. So again, I'm applying the brush marker straight to the stamp. And again, I'm still using the watercolor paper this time. And then let's go, let's do a, what yellow? Yeah. So I'm going to go with a yellow, and I'm just going to go Now I'm using the lighter colour first, as you can see. So and put that one back, and then let's go for and this I believe is Heather. So again, so we've digressed from using stamp pads and we've gone on to using just markers, but it gives you an idea of using these, more ideas and ways of using these as well. So I mean, we've covered the basics of the ink pads, so we're just covering different ways of using brush markers. So what I'm going to do now, not with a stamp cleaner, I've got my Misty bottle here. It's just got water in. I'm just going to spritz it, not too much, and then we can go down, and we've got basically a watercolor image. Let me just get rid of that. And then you can, if you want, do several images. So you have got basically a watercolor image. There you go. So put that to one side. I'm just going to give this a clean again, and I'm going to do that again. So I've got nothing on there now, and then let's do this. There it is. Right, so and then let's do the centers again. Let's go for orchid. That's a nice colour. So just again applying the ink straight to your stamp. Again, emphasising the fact that these are water-based markers. So and then we might do something slightly different again. How exciting is that? So I'm just going to finish colouring that, and then I've got a thinner one this time. I'm just going to sort through. Well, that's quite nice size. So this is a finer mist, and that's all it needs. And then down it goes. And if you've got So there you go. So that's our first image, applying, and that's a finer mister. That's a fine mist, which is why I wanted to do it again. And that's the result you get on the first image. And then on the second image, you've got a more watercolor effect image, which is quite nice. So again, that can be trimmed down and mounted and used on a card, as can that. So put those to one side, and then let's try something. I don't know if this will work, but we'll give it a go. And then that will be basically it. So let's clean our stamp. And there's that. And then what we're going to do is what I wanted is, let's go back to the what we've got here. Let's use this one, because this is quite a big stamp, and you'll be able to see a slightly different technique. So what I'm going to, still sticking to the waterproof card, and yes, that would be quite nice on there. Let's get the stamping platform. That to one side. Get it that way around. Let me put this away. Put you over there. And this is going to be my last little demo for you. So again, I'm going to go back to the ink pads, and I'm going to put my on there. He can go like that. I might put one down there. Right, I need to swap this around because that's on clear. So swap it around, and then we can bring that down, pick up our image. Now this is a indigo blue image, and he is called Top Hat and Tie. Again, indigo blue being one of the companies that I do like buying their stamps from. So what am I going to go for this? I'm actually going to go for the black, because I want this. So nice gentle tapping. All over the image, and then that can come over down onto, and I'm not going to colour the whole image because I'm just going to show you this technique. So we have got a lovely stamped image of our little man. So I'm put him to one side, clean the stamp, and then give that a quick clean. That's nice and clean. We can give him a little scrub. And we can put him away. I'll do that later. Right, let's put that away. we need here. Put that away. So we have got a stamped image. Now what I'm going to do first is get my pen, and I'm just going to dampen the... Now you're not going to see this. But it has slightly changed colour. Let me just bring that up a bit. I mean, I can see it under the lights I've got here. It has slightly changed colour. So basically, I'm priming the watercolour card with water. So, and then I'm going to get a brown, I think. Let's go for a brown. Yes. So I'm just going to you can see already the pencil is reacting to the water that I've put down on the card, and this is exactly what I want. So I'm just going to bring that down. And there you have a smoother, I think, transition of colour. I'll still bring that colour right down. And then, just to make sure I've got no colour, I can make sure I've got a little bit left. Just there we go. I just follow the line of where his end of his shoulder is. I'm just going to bring that down. So I'm just going to go back in with the brown that I've used before. And then I think just give that a wipe just in case. I don't know if it damages the pencils. I don't think it does. And then we can just again drag the colour down. And again, by using a waterproof ink pad, we have not, we've still kept the integrity of our image, as it were. So, and I will finish that off later. I'm not going to do any more, but that's another technique you can use with your ink pad and your markers. So you can see this difference. You've got a more water effect, which is quite nice. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do hope you've enjoyed all that. And let's just do a recap, because it's always good to do a little recap of what we've done. So first off, we did the teacup, and we applied colour in short pencil strokes, and then dragged the colour down with our brush marker. And then we took the brush marker straight to the pencil and brought the colour into our image there. And then on this one, we used the distress markers and coloured in a part of the cup. And again, using the brush marker, we just dragged the colour down. So that was two-ish techniques. And then we moved on to spritzing, using the markers straight onto the stamps. And then we got these images. So we did that one first, and then we did these two, and that was the first image. So we've got a nice watercolor effect. And then we did it again the second time, and we've got a much paler image, but still a nice watercolor effect with our image. And then we used this one and we colored it in exactly the same, and we did 2 or 3 generations of stamping on the image. And then we stamped our image in archival sepia, again using a waterproof ink pad, and then we used our distressed ink pads to pick up some colour and colour our image in. Again, I've only done part of it, but obviously you will have more time and you can complete and colour the entire image. So that's that one. And then on this one, the indigo blue, we coloured, we laid a foundation of water into the card, and then we went over with our pencil, and as we did in the first image, we just dragged the colour down. So we've got a bit more of a watercolour feel going on there with that. And again, I'll finish that off later. So that's how you use your waterproof ink pads with your water-based mediums. Again, as I've done before, let's take, you can use your, if you've got like shimmer paints, which are water-based, again, you can use those as well. Your sparkle pens, if they're water-based, you can go over the top of these, just in the centers or something, like, and it won't do any damage, or it won't interfere. Give that a little shake. So if I just go for center of the flowers, so if I hold that up, you can see I've got a slightly glistening sparkly centre of the flower. So I hope you've enjoyed all that. Thank you for watching, and please like, share, and copy and paste onto other platforms or groups that you belong to on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. That'd be absolutely brilliant. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye for now.